very concerned about what the microphone sounds like today. So if you're one of the early people in the chat room, let me know if this sounds better than yesterday. And I hope that it would, because I've spent the better part of the last hour and a half monkeying around, recording, doing all that. Basically what I did was I recorded for like a half hour, and then I listened back to it, and it seems like everything is okay. Sounds great. Sports Bros says sounds great. Okay, that's all very good. This is all very important. Hopefully, everything will maintain this current level of soundliness. Had to cut yesterday's show short. I just was bad headspace. I was trying to motor through, but I was distracted and a little echoey, Joel says. Oh man, you know me. That's gonna haunt me. If 100 people say it sounds fine, but one person says it's a little echoey, now I'm obsessed. All right, Al says it sounds awesome. It always sounds a little echoey. I like it a little echoey. It's one of the advantages of this studio, that I think that there's a little bit of natural acoustic sort of accompaniment to my voice. I like it. A lot of talk radio back in the day, you may remember, came with a little bit of fake echo. A lot of very hollow sounding man in a room. Oh, I love that. And that's what this show is. This show is an homage to what talk radio once was before it became all sports or all politics. Talk radio in this country used to be a public house, a meeting ground, a place where people every day would listen and they discuss all the things that affect their community. Not how you voted and why you're the devil for voting that way. Or, a top 10 list of possible Cowboy head coaches next year. Nah, that's all you get. That's all you get with talk radio. I like talk radio for normal people, and that's what we do here every day for 3 years. Talk radio. Talk radio for normal people. We are not in the 15% of crazy people on the right who are just lost to us forever. Those 50, the people that have uniforms, those people. Okay, so they're lost. Then we got 15% on the left. We've been lost to them. They've been lost to us forever as well. Those are the people that they burn down car dealerships and, it's crazy people. There's 15% on the right and 15% on the left that I wholeheartedly feel are lost to us. That's 30% of the country. That means it's up to the other 70% remaining, us. 70% normal people. That's who this show is for. How does it do? Well, the show is basically current events. It's everything that people are talking about without the political prism. All right, so if it's a headline, if it's a hot topic, if a trend, if it's something that people are talking about, I'll give it to you here. I perform the show in what I call a stream of consciousness. Hell, I'm not the only one to call it that. It's a thing. Stream of consciousness is where you just start talking. And no commercial breaks, no songs, no traffic, no nothing. Just me talking about the day. Now, that can get pretty squirrely, especially since, a stream of consciousness why am I saying it like that? A stream of consciousness can take you anywhere. So what we do is we like to have 4 quarters, 4 basic guardrails, if you will, for the show to keep me on track. 4 quarters. The first one we call Antecedently on this day. This is where I just riff on things from history on this day, things that happened on this day, things you should know. Quarter 2 is birthdays, people who are celebrating a birthday on this day. Quarter 3 is deads. We decide whether or not people who died on this day went to heaven or hell. We look at their lives, we talk about what they're known for, and then we decide heaven or hell. Those are the first 3 quarters. The fourth quarter, hot topics, trends, headlines, all the good stuff. Okay. What else do I need to say? More echoey than usual. Oh, God. Oh, my God. All right. Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about too echoey. What I'm worried about is the crackling and all of that stuff. All right, it's Thursday night. That means it's game night in my life. My whole week revolves around 2 nights, 2 days, actually. It would be a Thursday night football, Thursday night junior varsity football here in the great state of Texas. Got to go up there to Kimbrough Stadium. Last week I was cold. Last week I was like, I had a jacket in the car and I was like, should I bring a jacket in? And I didn't bring a jacket in. I was cold. I was up there. I was freezing. Like in the fourth quarter, I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. It's cold. Today, it's going to be like 90. Today, I don't even know. Probably going to be hot again. All right, that's it. I got nothing else. See, last week's loss to Lake Highlands was it kind of changed the whole mood of the whole season. It just kind of was like, oh, wait, we played a good team. We played a good team hard, and we weren't good enough to beat that good team. That good team beat us. We know that we beat up on some other teams this year, and we felt pretty good. Then we met a really good team, and they whipped us. So I don't know. I don't know what we got. Last year was a glory season, man. Last year, undefeated, ran the table. Nobody could touch them. Average points differential was like 30 points. They were winning by 30 points every game. It was amazing. Wow. All right, so that's tonight. So I got to get out. I got to get all the way up there again in rush hour because, again, the amount of respect for junior varsity football in this state is just palpable. There's no respect. They're not even, you know what they won't even have? They'll have the big scoreboard because we're playing in the big stadium. We'll have the big scoreboard on, but it won't show you downs in yards to go. They apparently that guy gets paid something extra and he's only available for varsity games. So it's like you have to watch the sideline dudes. And those people, the chain gang at high school football gangs, those people, they need to get their heads in the game. They're not, the fans, trust me, everyone's looking at them to figure out what down, how many yards it is. And they're like talking to people on the sideline and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. See, that's a stream of consciousness rant. You see, I almost went off on like kids who are assigned to the chain gang at high school football games. But I'm not that guy. I'm not that parent. I sit there and I keep my mouth shut. I cheer when appropriate. I have no criticisms for anybody. Hell, I've even cheered for the other team when appropriate. It's all just sports. Kid hurt his knee last week. You might remember that. He hurt his knee. He didn't miss any playing time, but after the game, he spent the next 4 days just milking that injury. I can't go down the steps. You need to bring me up another chocolate milk. Shit like that. Okay. I can't mow the lawn. My knee, I got to be able to play on Thursday. Well, it's Thursday. Apparently, he's fine. He's fine. Although I fully expect him to re-injure it after the game. After the game will be fine, but after the game he'll be like, yeah, it's a little sore again. I think I'm going to need to take the weekend off from chores. He'll try and pull that again. Whatever. Let's say hi to the chat room. Our boy Peter's here. Hey, you know what? Peter's the executive producer of today's show. He was the executive producer of yesterday's show, but he's also going to be the executive producer of today's show. You know why? Because Peter is tipped every day. Thank you so much. This show runs on your gratuities. 3 years now. You guys just dropping things in the Venmo or the Cash App is how we keep doing this show. It's not a romantic life. It's not filled with glory. But it is something we enjoy. So thank you, Peter. Peter's our executive producer. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be the big tipper of the day. Drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. Peter's here. We say hi to Peter. We got Nina. What up, Nina? Nina screaming about damn Yankee. I don't know what that is. That's me. I'm a damn Yankee. I'm a damn Yankee. Whatever. I don't care. I've been here off and on for over 20 years. I like it here. I choose to be here because I'm an American. I can live wherever the hell I want to live. Let's see here. Who else do we have in the chat room? Let me pop in. People are filling in. Let's see. Who do we got? We got Jeff, of course. We've got Joel. We got Al. We've got Leslie. We've got Jen Hernandez. Peter. Mikey D. Everybody's filling in. Byron is here, of course. The Sports Bras. Sports Bras are a part of the Radio Misfits Dallas family. We just haven't made that official yet. I had an incredible meeting yesterday. Great meeting with some very interesting folks concerning what we're going to be doing here with Radio Misfits Dallas. Very exciting. No details on that. Throwing parties and stuff. Oh, we're going to have fun. It's going to be good. You see. You'll see. You'll all see. What else do I need to do? Anything else? Adam's here. speaking some other language. Soyaki, he says. Don't know what that means. Al's here. Al says, yo, amigo. I believe that to mean, hello, friend. Kevin's here. All right, everybody's getting here. All right, let's get started with today's show, okay? Why not? Let's just get started. Why? As long as the sound is working and... Although... watching videos, that's a whole new thing. There's a whole new way that I got to do to watch videos now. So when I want to share something with you, it's like a whole to-do. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But first, it is the Rant. Current events talk, the way it ought to sound. I'm Pugs Moran. We do it every day here from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's Design District. We are RadioMisfits.com. Radio Misfits Dallas is the street gang that we fly our... Well, what do we call that? You know, I stopped watching. I was all into like gang lingo and stuff because I was watching Sons of Anarchy. And I like ripped through like the first 4 seasons of Sons of Anarchy over the course of like 3 months. And then I haven't gone back. I got to get back into the Sons of Anarchy. What am I watching? Been rewatching the comedies. I've been rewatching Soap. And I've been watching Soap with Arrested Development and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia just to gauge where Soap is. Because Soap is a very, very funny television show from the 1970s that I think a lot of people forget about. But I consider It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Arrested Development to be the 2 funniest situation comedies ever. So I'm sort of just going back and forth, seeing where I rate Soap amongst the biggies, of all time. Soap, washed up, washed in, washed up, washed out, washed up. Soap, a podcast coming to the RadioMisfits.com podcast platform. October the 24th is today's date. It is 298 days into the year of 2024. There's 68 more of these remaining until New Year's Eve, so get those plans started. All right, let's jump right in here. It is Q1. It's antecedently on this day. These are all things that have happened on this day. We're looking for rhythms. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for things to repeat themselves. Antecedently on this day in 1861, the first transcontinental telegraph line across these here United States is completed. The first transcontinental telegraph line, 1861. So what does that mean? Transcontinental New York to like the West Coast. Somebody went... All right. Cool. Antecedently on this day in the year 1901, Annie Edson Taylor becomes the very first person to do this. Very first person, not the very first woman, very first person to do this. What did Annie Edson Taylor do, you ask? She went over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Did she live? I think so. A lot of people died doing that. That was a thing. Like back before we had the internet, like when people were looking for things to entertain themselves, people used to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Really not smart, but whatever. Annie Edson Taylor is the first to do it on this day in 1901. On this day in 1911, Orville Wright remains in the air for 9 minutes and 45 seconds in a glider at Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. The Wright brothers. No, I don't. The Wright brothers, what we're supposed to... It was quite a thing. He remained aloft for 9 minutes. You were the first. You were the first to figure it out. Okay, somebody else was going to figure it out. I say this with Edison. Somebody with the Wright brothers, there were people in Europe that were doing gliders and shit like that too. So it's like I'm not all that impressed with the Wright brothers. They were just first. It's not like, I'm just not that impressed. Sorry. You were the first to do something that is like so common now that I can't give you any credit. Sorry, Wright brothers. You were just first. I'll give you credit for that. On this day, antecedently in the year 1926, Harry Houdini's last performance takes place at the Garrick Theater in Detroit, Michigan. Harry Houdini used to do this thing where he would challenge people to punch him in the stomach because he said that he had an iron stomach. So, wherever he would perform, like heavyweight champions would come and they'd meet him backstage and he'd be like, I'm going to sock you in the gut. I'm going to give you one to the breadbasket, that whole thing. And it was a sort of a promotional thing. So Harry Houdini was backstage and he was talking to this young boxer And the boxer's like, so they say you can take a punch to the gut. And he's like, yeah, I can. No man can hurt me. And as he was saying that, the dude like sucker punched him in the gut. Like apparently like busted up his insides, and he died like a couple days later. Harry Houdini died from being a jackass. Yeah, anybody can punch me in the stomach. I just got to be prepared for it. And he got hit. On this day, 1926, Harry Houdini, the very final performance. On this day, what is that year? It was a year 1929. Antecedently on this day in 1929, Black Thursday on the New York Stock Exchange. Black Thursday! It's one of the bad days on the stock market. So there we go. There's something that happened on this day. How's the stock market doing today? Because it was doing bad yesterday. And when I say doing bad, I mean better than it ever has in the world. It just momentarily for one day was down. But overall, the stock market is crushing. And it was on this day in 1929, Black Thursday. Oh, is this when people were jumping out of windows and stuff? Is this the start of the crash? Is this the big one? Maybe Black Thursday. Antecedently on this day in 1947, famed animator Walt Disney testifies before the House Un-American Activities Committee, naming Disney employees that he believes to be communist. Walt Disney was a rat, people. Walt Disney was a rat. Men are complicated. Men do all kinds of things. Men can be a whole bunch of different things. But make no mistake, Thomas Edison tortured elephants. Henry Ford was an ignorant anti-Semite of the highest order. And Walt Disney ratted on his employees for thinking different. On this day, Walt Disney ratted on people. 1947. Antecedently on this day in 1992, the Toronto Blue Jays become the very first Major League Baseball team not of an American city to win the World Series. Yeah, I remember that one. I remember 92, the Blue Jays, Joe Carter, right? Okay, that's all I remember. But there we go. 1992, Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series. First Canadian team to do it. Have they done it since? I don't think so. Are they still the one and only? The one and only. Better look out, because if Major League Baseball gets a team in Tokyo, they're gonna start winning World Series. Antecedently on this day in the year 2008. Now, remember I told you about this day in 1929, famously known as Black Thursday. On this day in 2008, Bloody Friday. Bloody Friday was on this day in 2008. Saw many of the world stock exchanges experience the worst declines in their history, with drops of around 10% in most indices. Is that the start of the whole housing crisis and all that stuff? I think it might be. Hold on. Oh, sorry, that's my kid. My kid's like, you got all the details for the game? I'm like, yeah, dude, I got it. All right, sorry. Stop. A little distracted here. Where were we? Bloody Friday. Okay, so 2008, Bloody Friday. Everybody lost everything. Hi, I lost everything. Everybody lost everything. And we've never recovered. At least I haven't. Anyway, moving on. Let's do birthdays. Let's talk about people who celebrate birthdays on this day, okay? By the way, what is the Dow Jones at right now? What's happening with the Dow Jones? Is it up or down? Because remember, this is a bad day. Black Friday, Bloody Thursday. It is currently down 152. Okay. But it's still overall at 42,000. 42,000 cumulative. Oh, my God. People are getting so rich. Okay, let's keep going here. Birthdays. Let's talk about people who are celebrating birthdays on this day. I don't know if it's really their birthdays, but, we'll just go with it. Born on this day in 1926. He's dead, though. Died in 2017. I mention him because my grandpa used to tell me about this guy, and I don't think history has remembered him. Born on this day in 1926. Y.A. Tittle. Y.A. Tittle. Weird name, cumbersome name, not a great name for a celebrity, but he was a celebrity. He was like one of the first superstar quarterbacks in the NFL. Y.A. Tittle played for the Giants. Of course he did. Of course he did. Everybody who played, anybody that's remembered from the 1930s or 40s or 50s in professional sports, all played for three teams: the Chicago Cubs, the New York Yankees, or the Boston Red Sox. That's it. If you played for, ask any number of St. Louis Cardinals legends who are totally forgotten by time because they didn't play in New York. Anyway, Y.A. Tittle did play in New York, and he was good. There you go, Y.A. Tittle, quarterback. He looked 40 when he was a rookie. I was looking at pictures of him earlier today. I'm like, oh my God, that dude was a rookie? That dude looks like he's twice divorced. Looks like he teaches driver's ed. He does not look like the greatest athlete on the planet, Y.A. Tittle. Born on this day, 1926. Born on this day, 1936. 10 years after Y.A. Tittle, Bill Wyman, English singer, songwriter, bass player, member of your Rolling Stones. Bill Wyman's got Bill Wyman's like 100 and his wife is now like 50, which doesn't sound terrible. But it did sound terrible when Bill Wyman was like 50 and she was 14, which I think isn't that Bill Wyman's wife? Didn't Bill Wyman marry his wife when she was like 12? I don't know. It was like the 90s. We didn't care. We're like, he's a rock star. He should be also allowed to be a pedophile if he wants. He's a rock star. Nobody questioned it. Just kind of let it go. Like, yeah, he's marrying like way underage kid. But the Queen was there. The Queen showed up. The Queen, I don't know if the Queen was at his wedding, but you know what I mean? Like, I bet you somebody. It was all just normal. Mandy. I think her name was Mandy. Yeah, and she was like 15. I don't know, something like that. She was underage. And he was like 100. Bill Wyman, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1936. Born on this day in 1947, great American actor. I can't name one goddamn thing he's done, but I know I like him. Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline, most famous for marrying Phoebe Cates, right? That's it. That's pretty much the most famous thing that Kevin Kline has ever done. He married the chick in the red bikini from Fast Times. Good for him, Kevin Kline. Celebrating a birthday, Kevin Kline. Born on this day in 1947. Born on this day in 1981. Holy shit, she's still alive. I don't know, man. The world is a interesting place. Born on this day in 1981 and still alive, as opposed to like found dead in a hotel room like 10 years ago. I just assume. Tia Tequila, ladies and gentlemen. Sex model. Tia Tequila. What was she? She wasn't porn. She didn't do porn. She wasn't an actress. She was like dime a dozen hot. Like, she's hot, but hot like, any chicks are hot in a club. Like, not special hot. And yeah, she's still alive. Like, I just kind of assumed, right? Doesn't she seem like the type that would have died like 10 years ago? And then you'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, she died. I remember when TMZ reported that. Tia Tequila, not dead, born on this day in 1981. Born on this day in 1985, one of the most famous athletes in the world. I couldn't pick him out of a crowd. His name is Wayne Rooney, ladies and gentlemen. He's an English footballer, and he's one of the most famous and highly paid athletes in the world. Wayne Rooney. No idea what he looks like. No, is it a black guy? I don't know. That's a good game. Ask American sports guys. Like, we'll just throw out names of premier players and we'll be like, white guy or black guy? I don't know why that would be fun, but Wayne Rooney, born on this day in 1985. Born on this day in 1986. Here's another one, white guy or black guy. Drake. Drake was born on this day in 1986. Is he a white guy or a black guy? I don't know. Why is it important? It's not. It's not. This entire show isn't important. So if you're going to start holding my little thoughts to, well, that's not important standards, you shouldn't be listening or watching or whatever it is you're doing. Drake, he's Canadian, handsome, right? Chicks dig him. All the chicks dig Drake. Don't really. I don't know. I look at him. I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess. I could see he could get laid. He could get some. Not from me. I'm straight. But I can see how he could. But what is his deal? He's a singer. Oh, he's one of the most successful singers of all time. No, I get it. He's super famous. Do you know that I couldn't name one Drake song? I got no idea. I got no idea what this guy does. You could play like the most famous Drake song for me right now and say, who is this? And I would say Drake because of the context, but I wouldn't know that it's Drake. I wouldn't, I don't know. I have no idea who Drake is. Drake is way too famous for me to know nothing about him. Born on this day, I know this. Born on this day in 1986. Born on this day in 1999. I love this family. I love this family. This family's crazy. The parents, saw an interview with the parents years ago. They're crazy. Born on this day in 1999, Detroit Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, I've been familiar with the St. Brown family for years because his brother, Equanimous, that's the best name. Equanimous St. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Equanimous used to be a really good wide receiver for my Notre Dame Fighting Irish back in his college days, so I was a big Equanimous St. Brown fan. And then Equanimous St. Brown became a pro, and he's just kind of middle of the road. He's all right. He bounces around. He was on the Bears for a while, and that's when I got to know his parents. I saw like some interview with Equanimous St. Brown's parents, and they're like super smart college professors and shit. And then the little brother is Amon-Ra, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is like really good. That's it. That's all I got on the St. Browns. St. Brown, they're an interesting family. I like them. Anyway, happy birthday, Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver of the Detroit Lions. All right, let's get into the deads. These are people who've died on this day, people who passed away. We're going to decide whether they went to heaven or hell. We've got a pretty healthy list of deads today, so let's not delay. Let's get into it. Dead on this day in 1852, Daniel Webster. He was United States Secretary of State, lawyer, politician, but famous for the Devil and Daniel Webster story, short story, which was probably like, first published in the Saturday Evening Post, some bullshit like that. I don't know. But it was the story of a dude who sold his soul. And Daniel Webster died on this day in 1852. And because he is most famously associated with the devil himself and selling his soul, guess where Daniel Webster went? That's right. Put him in hell. He sold the soul, man. It's the rare case of someone who died on this day where we actually know that he made a deal with the devil and he sold his soul. Dead on this day in 1972, Jackie Robinson, American baseball player, sportscaster, died in 1972. How old was Jackie Robinson? He was a young man, huh? 53 years old Jackie Robinson was when he died. Jackie Robinson is, of course, going to heaven. For any number of reasons, but I'm a baseball guy, and he's one of the greats, and he is, without a doubt, one of the greats. Jackie Robinson goes to heaven, dead on this day in 1972. Dead on this day in 1991. I'm putting this dude in hell only because I have no respect for him, none whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, on this day in 1991, Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry dies, and I have no respect for him. I've never been into Star Trek. Never got it. Always thought it looked too cheesy. Just always, I don't know, was never into it. Gene Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek, dead on this day in 1991. Dead on this day in 2005. Like, I have a choice here. This person's got to go to heaven. How am I going to put Rosa Parks in hell? That's right. Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks sat where she wanted to on the bus. She wouldn't sit in the back. Wait. See, I'm always confused by that. Look, I'm not confused by Rosa Parks, okay? She's an American icon. She took a stand for what was right in a time when that wasn't seen as right, and she paid the price for it, and she's Rosa Parks. So she's going to heaven. But I've always maintained that the back of the bus is the coolest part of the bus. I don't understand why they had a problem. They. Why? Who's they? You know what I mean? Like, I get why they had a problem. It was the overarching principle of the whole thing that they couldn't just sit where they wanted, which is, every American should be able to sit wherever they want. So I get that. But all things being considered equal, I would choose to sit in the back. That's like the furthest away from the driver. It's where most of the hijinks are going on. It's where most of the fun on the bus is happening. Right there in the back. But maybe Rosa didn't feel she needed that. Maybe Rosa just wanted to sit in the front. I don't know. Whatever. We're putting her in heaven. And I'm going to stop talking about her because God only knows what accidental thing I'll say that I'll be like trying to explain. She's cool, okay? Can I do more than putting Rosa Parks, an American icon, in heaven? There you go. I'm just saying, the back of the bus seems like the cooler part for me. We always wanted to sit in the back. Again, furthest away from the bus driver. All kinds of hijinks. All right, moving on. Dead on this day in 2014, Marcia Strassman. Marcia Strassman died on this day. How old was she? She was 50, 64, 65, 66. Okay, that's not, she should have gotten another 15 easily out of that, but she didn't. Marcia Strassman died on this day in 2014. Now, do you remember who she is? I'm going to tell you who she is. I had a crush on her. I had a weird crush on her. Like now I look at her and I'm like, okay, I can see why. Like physically she's kind of hot. Like her body is. I was watching episodes of this, like, I don't know, a year or so ago, and I remember going, all right. Of course, Marcia Strassman is famous for being Mrs. Carter on Welcome Back, Kotter. Mrs. Carter, Julie Carter. Remember her? She was like, she was the only normal one. She put up with so much nonsense. Mrs. Carter, all the nonsense came to her front door. Her husband's kids. Could you imagine just like hanging out at your teacher's house? Nah, but not that's what Julie Carter put up with. All right, so she's dead. She was hot. She was hot in like a nerdy glasses 70s way. But I'm telling you, if you get a chance to see any episodes of Welcome Back, Kotter, notice her body. She had a really good body. Mrs. Carter. All right, there you go, Marcia Strassman, putting her in heaven. Why are we putting her in heaven? Because, actresses almost always go to hell. Actresses are crazy. She was Mrs. Carter. What can I tell you? I like her. That gets her going to heaven for me. Dead on this day in 2017, Fats Domino. Hold on. How did we miss something? Hold on. I thought we missed something. Did we, Yeah, all right, never mind. All right, whatever. Did I not put his birthday down? All right, never mind. It doesn't matter. Dead on this day in 2017, Fats Domino. I can't tell the difference between Fats Domino and Chubby Checker. I think it's the, it's the fat shaming, maybe, in both of them. I don't know. Which one did Fats Domino do? Did he do Blueberry Hill? I found my thrill. I don't know. Fats Domino. Well, put him in hell. I'm just going to put him in hell because I'm not sure who he was. A lot of those dudes had like really sketchy pasts, like 50s rock dudes. Well, Chuck Berry, filming chicks. Chuck Berry had a bunch of secret cameras in the restaurant bathrooms that he owned. He used to record chicks going to the bathroom. So, I don't know. Guilt by association, maybe? Fats Domino, dead on this day in 2017. I don't know anything about him. Dead on this day also in 2017. Who would have gotten the bigger play? I think this dude might have gotten the bigger play over Fats Domino. Both of them died on this day in 2017. Robert Guillaume. Robert Guillaume, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Guillaume, of course, is famous for being Benson. Benson had about a 10-year turn as the the lead in an ABC sitcom about a butler at the governor's mansion of some state. I don't even know what state Benson was. But he was basically the butler at the governor's mansion. That's what the whole show was about. And in the course of 10 years, Benson would go from Robert Guillaume, who died on this day. Benson, over the course of 10 years, would go from just like a sassy black power butler to governor of whatever state. That's right. He became governor. It was the most unrealistic character arc you have ever seen. Especially now. I am watching, of course, Soap for the Radio Misfits Soap podcast that we're putting together. Benson, the character of Benson from the TV show Benson, is of course a spinoff of the character Benson from Soap. Benson in Soap was a revolutionary. He was like poisoning the food, and he was nuts. And then everybody liked Benson from Soap, and they went, let's develop a show for him. And they made the show Benson, and they cleaned him up, and they turned him into a totally different character. Anyway, I like Benson. Benson's hysterical. He's going to heaven. Robert Guillaume died on this day in 2017. Yeah, not seriously, man. As far as like insane character arcs and character growth goes, Benson is certainly up there at the top. Benson, when you first are introduced to Benson in episode 1 of Soap, and then you see what he is in the final season of the TV show, Benson, you see what he's become. That is crazy story arc. Not as crazy as Adrian from the Rocky movies, going from someone who's essentially retarded to a real housewife of Hollywood in movie 4. But by the 4th movie, she's like a real housewife. She's all sophisticated and she's in society circles. In the very first Rocky, she was a mentally retarded woman who worked at a pet store. That's who she was. So Bob Guillaume had one of those story arcs as well. All right, there you go. That's Dead People. Those are the first 4 quarters. Once again, I want to remind you, we have an executive producer at today's show. His name is Peter. Peter was the big tipper on yesterday's show. That's how this show runs. Talk radio for normal people. If you support this kind of talk radio, drop a little something in the Cash App or the Venmo. Keep us going for another month. It's now time for quarter 4. Quarter 4 is when we talk about all the things that are happening in the world, the big stories, the headlines, the hot topics, the trends. Let's get started. Israel. We start every day with Israel. I got nothing new on Israel. Blinken is still over there. They blew up something last night in Gaza that the Gaza people are saying is a hospital again. And Israel's going, it's not a hospital. And they're going, it's a hospital. And so you got all of that going on. Still don't know what the hell's going on with Israel and Iran. Israel's not showing their cards in any way, shape, or form. We don't know when this is going to happen, other than there's been endless troop movements by Israel. Not that it suggests any kind of a ground invasion, but I don't know what it suggests. So that's the latest on Israel. So Israel, there you go. World War III is not starting right now. But when it does, we'll talk about it. Kamala Harris did a town hall last night on CNN. It was supposed to be a debate, but Trump's too... Trump don't want to debate her, man. And why would he? It's 2 weeks. He doesn't need it. So he's not debating her. He's like, I'll debate her anytime. Nah, come on. You're afraid you're going to come off poorly, and that's why you don't need it. You don't need the debate. She wants to. She wants you to come off poorly. So anyway, instead of having it be a debate last night, CNN just went, okay, so Kamala's here, town hall. Oh, God, it was so boring. Yikes. It was boring. I watched 10 minutes of it. I'm like, first of all, can I just say, who the fuck are these undecided voters? Who are you people? What is wrong with you people? You are probably the least needed people in this process. If you are still undecided, good Lord, man. Where have you been? Where have you been since 2016? You can't be undecided, okay? These are 2 incredibly different candidates that represent 2 incredibly different visions for America. How the fuck are you undecided? You're an idiot. If you're undecided, you're an idiot or looking for a way to justify being a morally broken person. Anyway, Kamala Harris gave a town hall last night and nobody gave a shit. Department of Justice, they have come down on Elon Musk. Elon Musk, you might remember, he's out there campaigning for Trump, and he's in these swing states. He's doing this thing where if you sign up, I don't even know what it is, register to vote, sign a petition. It's a petition, right? It's not even sign up to vote. It's like some kind of petition that he's pushing out there. And he's like, if you sign the petition, I will randomly be making somebody a millionaire by giving a check for $1 million to somebody. So a lot of people are signing up this thing. There are a whole bunch of signatures on the petition. But the problem is that, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. Apparently, some lawyers say that's highly illegal, that he can't be doing this. He's given away $4 million. He gave away Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then Tuesday, the Department of Justice, they said, hey, we're looking into this. So he didn't give anything away on Wednesday. He didn't give anything away yesterday. So there you have it. So the Department of Justice is looking into Elon Musk and his somebody's going to make $1 million today contest, which may or may not be legal or illegal. I don't know. Election law. I'm not an election law guy, and neither are you. Okay. You know what? You know what makes you an election law guy? You read something on Twitter from somebody who in the moment you trust is an election law guy, and now you're going, no, but Pugs, actually, the election law as it's written. Oh, shut the fuck up. Okay. So none of you are experts on this. Shut up. You're all just little parakeets doing the bidding of others. They want you doing this. They want you to all pretend. I don't know if this is legal or not. Seems sketchy. Seems like it should be illegal. I don't know. Whatever. Department of Justice. Hey, have no fear. The Department of Justice is on it. So, absolutely nothing is going to come of this. McDonald's is still in the news. We told you about McDonald's yesterday. They got a whole bunch of a quarter pounder recall. Quarter pounder's got E. coli in it or something like that. I should probably be reading the story because I imagine McDonald's is pretty litigious, so I should probably get this right. But a whole bunch of McDonald's in a whole bunch of states. That's as far as I'm willing to go. Whole bunch, saying a whole bunch. A whole bunch of McDonald's in a whole bunch of states have pulled off the quarter pounder from their menu. It says here what to know about the E. coli and the McDonald's outbreak. Here's what I'm hoping. When the dust settles on this, I hope the McDonald's rebounds by having crazy, incredible deals on quarter pounders. Like, I hope they're like 50-cent quarter pounders. I'd be willing to risk E. coli for 50-cent quarter pounders. You know how good a 50-cent quarter pounder sounds right now? And you can't just make it smaller. You can't. It's not like it's a 50-cent quarter pounder, but it's half the size of a normal quarter pounder. You can't do that because, see, you're already calling it a quarter pounder. We know what it's supposed to be. If it's not going to be a quarter pound of meat, then go kick rocks. Anyway, that's a fantasy of mine. 50-cent E. coli quarter pounders. A food poisoning outbreak tied to McDonald's quarter pounders was caused by a common type of E. coli bacteria that can cause serious illness and death. Particularly vulnerable are young children, older people, or those with weakened immune systems. Okay. About 50 people have fallen ill in this McDonald's outbreak, and one has died, with ages ranging of the infected from 13 to 88, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. What is E. coli? E. coli is a type of bacteria found in the environment, including water, food, and in the intestines of people. I don't care. We don't care what it is. How's it spread? What are the symptoms of E. coli poisoning? Okay, here we go. Symptoms occur quickly, within a day or two of eating contaminated food, and typically include fever, vomiting, diarrhea, or bloody diarrhea, and signs of dehydration. Little or no peeing, increased thirst and dizziness. It says here that also the infection can cause a type of serious kidney injury, especially in kids younger than 5. Okay, hold on. What else we got to know? Story's been updated. Oh, this is they think that it might have something to do with onions. Like, they think that like some onions went bad, that they were, I don't know. Anyway, quarter pounders off the menu in a whole bunch of states because McDonald's got an E. coli situation they're handling. Let's see. What else do we have here? McDonald's. How about the Menendez boys? That's right. They're back in the news. They've been in the news a lot the last couple of months. Now, first you had the Netflix series from Ryan Murphy, Menendez. And then, everybody was like, they were gay. And then, that created a whole thing. But then also, they reopened the case, or they re-examined the case. And, it looks like, and I don't know how directly tied to the attention the miniseries brought to the case this is, but they're probably going to walk after 34 years in prison. The attorney, the prosecutor in the case in Los Angeles, has said he's going to relook, at the here. I'll read it to you because today there could be an announcement. Los Angeles DA to announce decision on Menendez brothers case Thursday. Today. Okay. So maybe sometime this afternoon we'll know. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon has scheduled a news conference for Thursday afternoon to announce whether his office will recommend Eric and Lyle Menendez be resentenced in light of new information in their murder case. So why is that important, the resentencing? Because they've already done 34 years. And whatever they are resentenced to is probably not going to be a 34-year prison sentence. So they have served the time. Recently, the boys' family came forward to ask that they be released from prison, and Gascon had previously said that there is a possibility, being alleged by his lawyers, not by us, that there was evidence that was not presented during the original trial. All right, so we'll find out. We'll find out at some point today, it looks like, where this is going. Bad teacher. A teacher is, where is this bad teacher in Boston? We got a teacher. We got a teacher having sex with a kid, 14-year-old kid. Let's check this one out. Let's get a look at her. Gym teacher. Oh, she's a gym teacher. Gym teacher, 38 years old, accused of sexually assaulting a student over a 4-year period. The teacher allegedly continued the abuse throughout the student's high school years. Okay, so let's get a look at the teacher, because I do think looking at the teacher and just knowing a thing or two about 14-year-old boys, let's see if this was in fact abuse. There we go. There she is. That's her. That's the 38-year-old gym teacher who was having a 4-year abusive relationship with a 14-year-old boy. Yes, I do have a double standard on this stuff. I've total double standard on this stuff. If this was a 38-year-old shop teacher dude who was, having sex with a 14-year-old girl, yes, I would have a big problem with it. Once again, I want to point out that I don't believe that the 14-year-old boy in this case was abused. I don't think he was victimized. I don't think it's rape, and I don't think it's absurd to say that it's different for girls with grown-ass men than it is for young boys, teen boys with hot smoking MILF chicks. Okay? It's just not the same. It's not the same power dynamic. It's not the same emotional thing. There is no fear in the 14-year-old boy. If the 14-year-old boy wants to stop, he can get the hell out of there. 14-year-old boy doesn't want it to stop. I just think it's different. I just think it's different for girls. Now, I have a 14-year-old son, and I can tell you people have said, well, what if it turns out that your son is having sex? I'm like, well, first of all, I'd want to get a look at her. I want to see, does this person look like a crazy person? And then I'd sober up from that, and I'd be like, of course she's a crazy person. She's having sex with a 14-year-old. And then I'd want her fired. I'd want her removed from her job. Now, if it was my 14-year-old daughter and it turned out, I wouldn't just want them fired and removed from their job. I'd want them in prison, and I would want the whole world to know that they are predators and all that stuff. So I just think it's different. All right, let's see what this 38-year-old gym coach who abused this boy. See what the details here are. Lydia Pinto is her name. She's 38. She was arrested in November. The alleged victim told authorities that their relationship turned sexual when he was 14 or 15 and continued until his senior year. It is unclear if the student was in her class. Let's see here. If there's any other pictures. I don't see any other pictures. The investigation began with an anonymous email detailing the relationship to the Bridgewater Police Department last month. She's got tattoos. There's another picture of her. The alleged victim was identified and interviewed by the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office. Pinto, that's her, she was charged with 1 count of first-degree aggravated assault and 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault. The first charge carries a prison sentence ranging from 10 to 20 years. Yeah, okay. Does she deserve to be in prison for 10 to 20 years? No, she doesn't. Should she not be a teacher? Yeah, she shouldn't be a teacher. She obviously doesn't know right from wrong. I mean, let's just establish that line right there. Didn't know we had to be so clear about it, but teachers can't be fucking kids, okay? There we go. We said it. It's now a thing. Again, didn't think it had to be said, but it's got to be said. So she did that, so she's gone, so she can't be a teacher. But 20 years in prison. 20 years of, I mean, whatever punishment she receives needs to be, I think, commensurate with the amount of damage that the 14-year-old went through, right? So we got to look at the 14. We got to talk to the 14-year-old. Got to see what kind of emotional trauma he's dealing with. He's a hero. He's a hero among his friends. He is a hero. He is the guy with more. Dude, he's got so much gang. He was banging our teacher gym coach for 4 years. I mean, trust me, he's not broken forever. He's not one of these dudes now who's never going to be able to have a committed, loving relationship because of no. But those are very real things that a young girl might experience. Not a boy, not a 14-year-old boy. 14-year-old boy's a jerk-off machine. That's all he doesn't trust me. There is no real level of pain and hurt that was suffered by the boy. Nervous, didn't want his mom to find out. Like, that's like the... All right, moving on. Bad teacher. Bad teacher. You can't be a teacher anymore, but 20 years in prison, you're silly. That's programming. She molested a child. She must go to jail for 20 years. No, you're being silly. She's not a child molester. She's not a dangerous child molester. There are dangerous child molesters out there who should be in jail for 20 years. It's just not her. She should just never be allowed to teach again because obviously she's a fucking idiot. But okay. That's about all we got on her. She's a fucking idiot. Liam Payne, the hotel where Liam Payne fell to his death last week. Liam Payne, the member of One Direction. Liam Payne, the hotel has apparently been raided now by police in Argentina. I don't know what this is about. Let's find out, shall we? Argentine police raided on Wednesday the Buenos Aires hotel where former One Direction star Liam Payne died after falling from his third-floor balcony. Police officers from the Special Investigations and Technologies Division were sent to the Casa Sur Hotel by the prosecutor's office to seize elements of interest for the investigation. So it was directly related to the Liam Payne situation. Okay, so I thought it was something else. Not a big deal. Anyway, he did a bunch of drugs. Again, I think that he slipped. I think he was like, I'm going to kill myself. And then he slipped. I think he accidentally killed himself, threatening to kill himself. I don't think he wanted to kill himself. I think he was just a drama boy. I think he was just, putting on a show, being the pop star. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, okay. So here, this story is kind of directly related to the Liam Payne story from last week. This has been going for 2 days now, trending. Everybody's talking about it. So let's talk about it because I honestly first heard about it with Liam Payne. Had never heard of this before, but I'm not cool. Not hanging out with former boy banders in South American luxury hotels. It's called pink cocaine. Pink cocaine. Pink cocaine is what was used to describe some of the stuff that was found in Liam Payne's hotel room. And apparently, it is the drug. All the kids love the pink cocaine. It's very popular. Again, I've never seen it. If somebody was like, hey, man, you want to do some cocaine? And they pulled out some pink cocaine, I'd be like, partying with some losers, because there is no such thing as pink cocaine, as I understand it. As white as it can be, that's what you want. Any other coloring means that there's some shit that's been cut. So I don't think that's a good thing. Pink cocaine is not, in fact, cocaine at all. It's just known as pink cocaine because the powder, the consistency or whatever of the powder, I guess, resembles that of cocaine. What is pink cocaine? Although, wait, it should be mentioned, sometimes there's a little cocaine in there. A little salt on top of your nachos. Just a little something. Just a little, sometimes pink cocaine has a little bit of cocaine, but nobody's like buying it for the cocaine. It's just a name, okay? It's a different drug. It does something. Here's what it is. What is the new recreational drug, pink cocaine? All right, here we go. I'll show you a picture of it. Yeah, here's what it looks like. Okay. So here's what pink cocaine looks like, just in case you find it. Boom, there it is. Pink cocaine. Looks like strawberry or watermelon Kool-Aid. Pink cocaine. There we go. All right, let's learn about what pink cocaine is. It says here, pink cocaine is a recreational drug. That's what pink cocaine is. It's getting attention and causing confusion since it doesn't typically contain cocaine. The pink powder, really a grab bag of different drugs that are then dyed pink, has turned up in drug seizures, prompting warnings from law enforcement around the globe. Pink cocaine is also known as Tussie, T-U-S-I, Tussie. Pink cocaine is also known as Tussie, but both nicknames for the powder are more about marketing than reality. Experts say it rarely contains cocaine and is more likely to contain ketamine, a drug with very different effects. Isn't that Matthew Perry's drug of choice? Isn't that what Matthew Perry liked? Ketamine? Special? Is that the same as Special K? I don't know. I'm not up on my drugs. I haven't been up on drugs in like 30 years. Pink cocaine is also known as Tussie. Both nicknames for the powder are more about marketing than reality. Rarely contains cocaine. Why is it pink? It says pink cocaine is pink thanks to food coloring. Oh, Well, okay. Said Joseph Palomar, who studies drug trends at NYU's Langone Health Institute in New York. I bet you that dude, Joseph Palomar, the guy who studies drug trends, I bet you he's fun to have at a party. I bet you he's always got the latest drugs. Sometimes, here's what he says, sometimes it has cocaine in the mix, but it's typically more of a ketamine concoction, Palomar said. Studies have found batches containing, here's typically what's in the mix of pink cocaine: methamphetamine, MDMA, bath salts, caffeine, and opioids. Pink cocaine! Ugh. Bath salts again? Oh my God. Bath salts are so 2018. Bath salts? Didn't we move past that? And by the way, maybe we need to go back to bath salts, because I think we moved past bath salts before I was fully comfortable knowing what bath salts are. So, for instance, like there is like a normal thing called bath salts, right? Like it's a normal thing like Bed Bath and Beyond. You can get some bath salts, right? Well, I'm thinking of like ladies who take baths. Like there is like a real thing called bath salts that you put in your bath. That's not the same, right? Like people aren't going, when people were doing bath salts and eating people's faces, they weren't going to Bed Bath and Beyond and just buying like bath salts and then smoking that shit, right? It's like a different drug. It's something that's also called, I'm so confused. I don't know what bath salts are. I have no idea. And now they're back, apparently. They're back. They're back in the form of pink cocaine. Okay, so again, it's a mixture of methamphetamine, MDMA, which is ecstasy, which is so great. It's great. MDMA is great. I'll just take the MDMA, please. Just give me the ecstasy. And we'll just sit here on the couch and we'll watch TV for the next 4 hours. And it will be incredible. You and I will learn so much about each other. MDMA is great. I'm not anti-drug. I think there are a lot of drugs that do a lot of really great things for people. You know, we're very complicated individuals, what with our, hormones and emotions and all that kind of stuff. There are definitely things out there that allow you to throw a saddle on some of those things and maybe control them. It's just that when you rely too heavily upon that saddle, that you become an addict and your whole life goes in the toilet, and that's the problem. But no, MDMA is good. Ecstasy is great. It's the best. It's like if the whole world was on ecstasy, it would be like, hey man, that's like one of those things dumb stoners always say. Hey man, if the whole world was on ecstasy, I imagine that like we wouldn't have power or clean water. The whole world can't be on ecstasy. Somebody's got to keep shit running because the dude's on ecstasy. Don't worry about it, man. We'll get to it tomorrow. So the whole world can't be on ecstasy. The word tussie may have come, so it's known as tussie and pink cocaine. The word tussie may have been coined to mimic 2CB, a recreational drug used on the rave scene in the 1990s and known for euphoric effects, according to a paper that Palomar, he's the drug expert, published last year. Drug analysts that Palomar reviewed showed tussie didn't typically contain 2CB. Okay, so whatever, I don't know. Today, young people may not know the history of the name tussie, and they may be confused by the name pink cocaine, he said. It's just some pretty powder that their friends are using. They probably have no idea what it's supposed to be. Okay, so here's what I got from this. There is a drug out there right now on the party scene. It's called pink cocaine. It has no cocaine. Don't think it's cocaine. You're not doing a kind of cocaine that's just a different color. You're not doing cocaine. You're doing methamphetamine, MDMA, opioids, and other stuff. Anyway, also, they may call it tussie. Now, I didn't know this, but apparently there was a drug in the 90s called tussie or C2C or something, whatever it is. This is not that either. It's just a similarly sounding name. This is a completely new drug that bears no resemblance to either cocaine or the 90s party drug tussie. There you go. Pink cocaine. I don't know. I'm done with all that nonsense. I don't need to die of heart related stuff because I forgot that I'm not 25 anymore. That's not a way I want to go. Okay. How about this? PBR. Here's a big story for all you pro bull riding fans. The PBR, the Pro Bull Riders Tour, PBR has been purchased by a great big company. The parent company of WWE and the UFC is now moving into professional bull riding. WWE and UFC is buying professional bull riders. Okay, so they're getting what are they getting? Oh, they're getting more than just the PBR. They're getting PBR was always on TV. Remember in the 90s? I don't know if it's on TV anymore, but it used to be on TV all the time. If you were in a bar at like 1 a.m. in 1997 and you looked up, you were going to see some PBR. You were going to see some bull riding. And I was always fascinated by it. I always thought this could be a sport. This could be a thing. People will watch this. Here, parent of WWE and UFC is buying professional bull riders on location. That's a production company. And IMG for $3.25 billion. Whoa! $3.25 billion for the Pro Bull Riders Tour? I got to think that's IMG. IMG is a very big management company. The parent company of WWE and the UFC is buying professional bull riders on location and IMG from Endeavor Group in an all-stock deal valued at $3.25 billion. I don't care. I just think that's interesting. We're going to start seeing more bull riding again like we did in the 90s. I haven't seen it anywhere. I totally, though, dude, I can see how bull riding would be a sport you'd watch on TV. It only takes like 7 seconds, right? It only takes a couple of seconds. It's like you build up and you're like, yeah, it's awesome. I remember liking it. I remember not knowing what the hell I was looking at, but I remember liking it. 1997 me in a bar, staring at a TV with no sound, watching people get thrown from bulls. It was cool. And now the UFC and the WWE, they're in the pro bull riding world. How about this guy? Here's a dude. Okay, so you ever see those guys? They walk around with the metal detectors on beaches and they're like, yee, yee, and you just think, oh, look, isn't that guy sad? Or you think, hey, maybe you're an optimist. You think, hey, that guy has lived his life and now this is what he wants to be doing so good for him. Two ways you can look at it. He's sad or good for him. This guy, I think we can say good for him. This dude was out there in a field with a metal detector going, and guess what he found? Hold on, we'll make sure. Let's see here. He found a hoard of 1,000-year-old coins. They're worth $5.6 million. He found $5.6 million in gold coins, like from the Norman invasion. They had pictures of William the Conqueror on them. How cool. That is so awesome. It says here, Adam Staples knew that he'd found something when his metal detector let out a beep, and then another, and then another, and then another. And soon it was just beep, 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 Staples says. In a farmer's field in southwest England, Staples and 6 friends had found a hoard of more than 2,500 silver coins that had lain in ground. I like how it says that, lain. Lain, it's spelled Lain. Had lain in ground for almost 1,000 years, for almost a millennia. Valued at 4.3 million pounds, blah, 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 5.6 million American. And now bound for a museum, they will help shed light on the turbulent aftermath of the Norman conquest of England. Anyway, so here's how that money gets split up, because the money does get split up. So apparently the farmer whose land it was, he gets half. People who found it, they get half of whatever the museum pays, because it's got to go to a museum, and I guess the museum is giving the money. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, how about that, man? Could you imagine? You find like $5 million in Norman gold, Norman conquest gold. Oh, man. That's the dream. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, this is kind of a sad story. I don't like this story. This story bummed me out. I really liked this person. Not like, still do, still like him. He's alive. He's not dead yet. Just had such an amazing, amazing first solo album. It was so good, man. It was so, I love power pop, and it was almost perfect power pop. Um, and then he was in a bunch of bands, and he was a producer. And Golden Palominos, I think, is another one that was a super group of like, I want to say 10,000 Maniacs, REM, and just the whole Athens music scene. But we're talking about Matthew Sweet. If you guys remember Matthew Sweet, I want to love somebody. Matthew Sweet, man, he can write some pop songs. He had a rough go of it. He's still touring. He's out there. I'd go see Matthew Sweet if I knew Matthew Sweet was coming to a bar. Girlfriend, Evangeline, and a bunch. Just that album is just so good. Sad news. 90s musician Matthew Sweet suffers a major stroke while on tour. Matthew Sweet suffers a major stroke. It says here, Matthew Sweet has suffered a debilitating stroke while on tour in Toronto. So we'll play a little Matthew Sweet, just for those of you who don't remember. Oh, man, sick of myself. Oh, crunchy, great guitar riffs. Hold on. Tell you the sad story of Matthew Sweet. There we go. Oh, it's nice on Spotify. He's the first one that comes up when you put Matthew in there, so that's good. All right, maybe this was a big hit for Matthew Sweet. Really cool guitars.
You don't know how you move me, deconstruct me, and consume me. I'm all used up, I'm out of luck, I am starstruck by something in your eyes that is keeping my hope alive. I'm sick of myself when I look at you. Something is beautiful and true.
Just so poppy, just so perfect, just verse, chorus, verse, great fuzzy garage rock guitar sound, just riffy, cool, like real pedestrian level lyrics. He's not talking about anything super deep. He's not going Rush, just such great power pop garage 90s alt sound. What else do we have here? This was a big one, right? This was like probably his biggest song.
I wanna love somebody. I hear you need somebody to love. Well, I wanna love somebody. I hear you looking for someone to love. 'Cause you need to get back in the arms of a good friend. And I need to get back in the arms of a girlfriend.
Sweet has been forced to cancel the remainder of his U.S. tour dates, with his family and longtime manager Russell Carter setting up a GoFundMe campaign to cover the star's medical expenses. Oh, man, that's always the worst. Because, you think about a Matthew Sweet, and it's like, well, he probably could have played his cards right, and, he's probably doing okay. I imagine if Matthew Sweet wanted to play a concert every weekend, he might be able to make maybe $1,000 every weekend. I don't know. I mean, look, he could eke out a living. You would think, at least you want to hope that. I was once at a Fry Street Fair. This was back in 2001 because it was my first Fry Street Fair. And I was a big Pixies fan. And I was there to see Black Francis. And he was performing solo. And at the end of it, I walked behind the stages where, the backstage area was. And I saw him like loading his own gear, like lugging his own equipment and putting him in the back of a pickup truck. And then he was like driving the pickup truck. And I remember thinking in my head, that dude is a pixie. That dude is a pixie. You see the Rolling Stones flying around on jets. I'm like, that dude is a pixie, and he is loading his own gear. I mean, I don't put Matthew Sweet in that category, but still, it's kind of sad that a guy who had legitimate hit records and was a legitimate mainstream star for, a cup of coffee, a couple of years, that now he's still grinding out on tour. He has a stroke, and now he's got to have, a little GoFundMe anyway. It says here, due to a medical illness and on the doctor's advice, Matthew Sweet must cancel all remaining upcoming shows with Hanson. He's playing with Matthew needs to pause traveling for a period of recovery. We hope to have Matthew and his band back in 2025. And it goes on to talk about refunds. There you have it. All right, so there you go. Some sad Matthew Sweet news. How about some good Malcolm in the Middle news? There you go. Give you some bad news. Now some good. Who's a Malcolm in the Middle fan? Who's a Frankie Munoz fan? Check this out. Frankie Munoz got himself a real legitimate NASCAR ride. That's right. Remember Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle? Well, he's always been like one of these celebrity car racer kids. Like back when he was Malcolm in the Middle, when he was only like 15, 16, he was doing these celebrity car races. But after Malcolm in the Middle ended, he actually became a legitimate race car driver. Like he did all the things you got to do. I mean, why not? He was probably 20 years old and had a whole boatload of Malcolm in the Middle money. Why not become, a professional race car driver? And over the years, he has popped up in like NASCAR circles and stuff and all that kind of stuff. But now, lo and behold, look at this. He got himself a legit ride. He's not just a celebrity guy. Malcolm in the Middle star Frankie Munoz lands full-time NASCAR ride in 2025. Now, it's not, not racing on Sunday because, he's not there yet. But he's in the truck series. The truck series is legit. Former Malcolm in the Middle star Frankie Munoz is set to continue his NASCAR career with a full-time ride in the Truck Series for 2025. Munoz will make the jump from part-time racer to a full slate in the number 33 Ford for the Realm Brothers Racing. Realm, I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'll spell it for you. Are you ready? This is why I'm struggling with the pronunciation. R-E So already, right? You're like, oh, is there a U coming? Yeah, U. R-E-A-U. So already I'm like, what is that? Is that row? Is that row? R-E-A-U-M-E. Brothers Racing. So I'm thinking that's Realm Brothers Racing. They say, we're thrilled to welcome Frankie to our team full-time and to expand our relationship with Ford Performance. There you go. So if you like watching the truck races, the NASCAR, those are usually like Saturday night under the lights. Those are cool. Truck races. Big death. Big death that I didn't get to talk about yesterday, but that's okay because I'll talk about it today. What wild timing, man. This is, good time. All right, good timing. Good timing. We got a World Series starting tomorrow. That is just hitting me square in my childhood baseball loving heart. We got the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. Somebody poke me. Is it 1978 again? I mean, that's like the way baseball should be to me. I mean, I understand the whole, but it's only the big markets. Yeah, fuck it. The big markets got the big stars. That's who I want to see play in October. I want to see the big stars. I want to see I want to see Aaron Judge. I want to see Shohei. I want to see all that baseball has to offer. And that's what we're getting this weekend. Starting this weekend. Very excited. Yes, I'm pulling for the Yankees. The Yankees. I'm definitely a Yankee guy in this. I'm an American League guy. But timing being what timing is, a major death in the history of the Los Angeles Dodgers occurred yesterday or the day before, actually. I mean, one of the bigs. Like, there's like, of course, the Yankees have bigs. They got the Babe, they got Gehrig, DiMaggio, they got all the bigs. Dodgers have some bigs too. And one of the Dodgers bigs is Fernando El Toro Valenzuela. For me, he was the first baseball superstar that I remember. He's the first. Fernando Valenzuela came out of nowhere around 1979, 1980. I was like 10, 11 years old, and I didn't know from West Coast baseball. I didn't know the Dodgers. And all of a sudden, everything is about, this big fat Mexican kid. Because he was a big fat Mexican kid. And he didn't speak any English. And they would shove cameras and microphones in his face, and he'd say, "No speak English." And everybody laughed, and it was like, oh! But El Toro would get out there, and he would pitch, and he just changed. He changed. People think because his nickname was El Toro and because he was a big fat guy, people think that Fernando Valenzuela was a power pitcher. He was not a power pitcher. Fernando had weak heat. Fernando wasn't breaking 100. Fernando could pitch. Fernando was just a dude that catch people looking. I mean, just because the ball did something it wasn't supposed to do. He was an exciting player for me. 10 years old. Here comes Fernando. Everybody's excited. Everybody. The Tonight Show's talking about. He was ubiquitous. He was the biggest star in baseball for a period of time. Also, Fernando Valenzuela, the first $1 million ball player. I believe that was like one of the big Fernando Valenzuela's jokes. The only English he knows is $1 million. Because he was almost like Shohei before Shohei. Because Fernando was also a big hitter. Fernando, there are people who say that you could have put Fernando, you could have given him a bat every goddamn game. And not just because he was pitching in the National League, but if you just needed him as a pinch hitter, Tommy Lasorda used him as a pinch hitter. Fernando Valenzuela. He was incredible. First real superstar. I mean, when I first became aware of baseball at like 10, 9, 11, that age, as a kid, there were established stars. There was Johnny Bench in there. You know what I mean? There were established stars who I knew that came with my new emerging understanding of baseball. But Fernando Valenzuela was the first new one that I remember as a kid going, okay, so this is, Grandpa can't tell me about this one because we're seeing this in real time. He was a difference maker in baseball, and he's also a huge influence in the Mexican-American community here in this country because he was, of course, probably the greatest, most dominant Mexican pitcher in the history of the game. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Fernando is not in the Hall of Fame. However, his numbers retired. He's got all kinds of like crazy accolades. I don't know why he's not in the Hall of Fame. Fernando Valenzuela. Mexican-born pitcher whose feats for the Dodgers fueled Fernando Mania, dies at 63 years old. Fernando Valenzuela, the Mexican-born phenom for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who inspired Fernando Mania, while winning the National League Cy Young Award and Rookie of the Year in 1981. Think about that. Think about how big he was. Now, a couple of things also you need to be clued into for context here. So it was 1981 and it was baseball. Baseball was still America's pastime. Baseball was still a very big deal, and the Los Angeles Dodgers and Tommy Lasorda were about as big a deal as they can come. So in 1981, this dude on this team in Hollywood, by the way, loved the Dodgers. Every sitcom had Dodgers on it. It was big. So in 1981, in that context, he was the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young Award winner. He was dominant. He was that dominant in baseball at this period of time. The team said he died Tuesday night at a Los Angeles hospital, but did not provide the cause or any of the details. His death comes as the Dodgers prepare to open the World Series on Friday night at home against the New York Yankees. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred said Valenzuela would be honored during the series at Dodger Stadium. Oh, I imagine the Dodgers are going to wear a patch. I imagine something obvious like that, and there will be Friday night's game. There's absolutely going to be like a moment of silence or something for him. Valenzuela left his color commentator job on the Dodgers' Spanish language television broadcast back in September without explanation. He was reported to have been hospitalized earlier this month. His job kept him as a regular at Dodger Stadium, where he held court in the press box dining room before games and remained popular with fans who sought him for photographs and autographs. So I guess for the past couple of decades, he's been the voice of Spanish language Dodger baseball. God bless Fernando Valenzuela, actor and Dodger fan Danny Trejo posted on X. Valenzuela was one of the most dominant players of his era and a wildly popular figure in the 1980s, although he was never elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. However, he is part of Cooperstown, which features several artifacts, including a signed ball from his no-hitter in 1990. He's one of the most influential Dodgers ever and belongs on the Mount Rushmore of franchise heroes, Stan Kasten, team president of the Dodgers, said in a statement. He galvanized the fan base with the Fernando Mania of 1981 and has remained close to our Dodger hearts ever since, not only as a player, but also as a broadcaster. Valenzuela's rise from humble beginnings as the youngest of 12 children in Mexico and his feats on the mound made him a hugely popular and influential Los Angeles in the Los Angeles Latino community while helping attract new fans to Major League Baseball. Let's see here. Anything else? 63 is way too young. A piece of my childhood is gone. Actor Mario Lopez posted. Oh my God. One can only hope that in their death, Mario Lopez will post. In 1981, Valenzuela became the Dodgers' opening day starter as a rookie after Jerry Royce was injured 24 hours before his scheduled start. Fernando shut out the Houston Astros 2-0 and began the season 8-0 with 5 shutouts and an ERA of 0.50. He became the first player to win the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year award in the same season. Anyway, I'm an old baseball head, and Fernando is one of my guys, so very sad. Fernando Valenzuela. El Toro! More of a pretty pitcher than a power pitcher. People just think, he's like, oh, he's fat, he's a power. No, he wasn't a power pitcher. He was a pretty pitcher. Yeah, screwball. He threw a screwball. That's not a power pitch. Come on, people. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, Andy Dalton and his family got into a car accident. Andy Dolphin, the Red Rifle, of course, local legend here in North Texas. TCU, of course, quarterback. Andy Dalton is now the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Him and his family, looks like they're all going to be okay, but a pretty scary thing here. Panthers, Andy Dalton and family involved in serious car accident. Quarterback is being evaluated by team doctors. All right, now about the family. Let's see here. Details. Carolina Panthers quarterback Andy Dalton and his family were involved in a car crash. The 36-year-old is now being evaluated by team and medical personnel. No one from Dalton's family needed to be taken to a hospital. All right. That's good. Okay, so that's good. Dalton, his wife, 3 children, and the family dog were traveling near downtown Charlotte, Providence Road, when the crash occurred. Their dog was in the car. Oh, man. I hate that. Because, a dog in a car accident, even if it's just like a sudden stop, like let's say nobody's injured or anything, but even if it's just like a sudden stop or boom, you run into somebody, you T-bone somebody in an intersection. Again, not serious, no serious human injury. But in that situation, if there's a dog in the car, that dog's getting fucked up. That dog, you ever seen a dog in a car? Do you strap your dog down in the car? I don't. The dog, I'm just driving. The dog's just walking around, like real precarious, right? Like, should I stand on the center console? I don't know if it'll support me. Like, all worrisome, it's all freaked out. So anytime you even tap the brakes, the dog goes, wah. So I don't like that little detail about Andy Dalton's whole family. There was a dog in the car. The dog went flying. It was a big car. He's an NFL quarterback, for crying out loud. You don't think he's driving around in a Prius with his whole family? No, he's probably in some gigantic Andy Dalton NFL quarterback SUV, and the dog probably went flying. Anyway, they're all okay. I say that without knowing for sure if the dog's okay. I always think like that's how a dog's going to break its leg, right? Because a dog leg is very... Don't you ever look at your dog's leg and go, boy, those things look like they might break easy. Anyway, that's when I always worry about it. Dog getting thrown in the car because you have to hit the brakes. Am I supposed to be locking my dog down? Like in the car, am I supposed to put the dog in a seatbelt? My dog ain't going to sit for no seatbelt. I will cause an accident trying to get the dog back into the seatbelt while I'm driving because there's no way the dog is going to stay in the seatbelt. Do they have dog seatbelts? I'll tell you something I do have to do. If I roll the window down in the back, that'll occupy the dog's attention, and she'll just stick her face out the window. But I have to have the leash. Like I have to be driving in the front seat with the leash here while she's in the back seat with her head hanging out the window. I have to have the leash because she's stupid. She'll jump. I don't trust that she won't jump. I don't trust that. Guys, that's it. We're out of show again. Look at this. Today's show only 90 minutes. We're already out of show. We got to the Andy Dalton stuff. Let's do a quick look. Let's see if anything new has happened. Got any new news? Maybe the Menendez story. Maybe that dropped, huh? Did the attorney there, the district attorney, make a decision on the Menendezes yet? Who knows? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I could talk about. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm not talking about Hitler. I'm not talking about Epstein. I'm not talking about groping. Groping? What? You want me to talk about a groping allegation? Why? Why am I in October of 2024 talking about a groping? What are you hoping my response will be? Do you think my response to hearing that he's groped somebody is my response in 2024 supposed to be, oh my God, well, he just can't be president? We've heard it before, man. Okay? Gropity, grope. I expect the groping to have been done now, out in the open. Grope. Everybody's groping. Nobody fucking cares. You people who are pushing this, Trump groped a girl back in 1990. Shut the fuck up. You sound stupid. Okay? 6 years ago, we thought people cared about that shit. Nobody cares. So no, I'm not going to talk about groping. I'm not going to talk about Hitler, and I want my generals to be like... I do love that, though. I do love that. I will make this mention. So Hitler was like, I want my generals to be like Hitler's generals, okay? No context. I'm just going to say it. That's what he said. So he said in front of Mark Kelly? No. General Kelly. Whatever. He said that in front of the Kelly dude, the general. He's like, dude wants his generals to be like Hitler's generals, which is funny on a couple of different levels, because on the first level, you're like, oh, well, what Trump is saying is that he believes that Hitler's generals just did whatever Hitler wanted. And that's what he's looking for in his generals. It's not about killing race war or whatever. It's not about that. It's just about he wants generals that'll just do whatever he wants. That's what he meant by it. But the truth is that Hitler's generals tried to assassinate him on 3 different occasions. So he doesn't even factor that in. You don't want generals like Hitler's generals, because Hitler's generals were actively working. One of his generals, remember this guy? One of his generals stole a plane and flew to Scotland to try and negotiate a peace deal because they were getting ready to take out Hitler. We just told you about Rommel, about how Rommel had to kill himself because it was unveiled that Rommel, Hitler's best general, was trying to kill Hitler. So, that is pretty funny. You don't want generals like Hitler's. Hitler's generals were like trying to kill him. But I get what you're saying. All right, let's see. What else here? What else do we have here? Women's no. I'm not doing polls. Do you see at the end of the show here when I've got nothing prepared, this is when I'm going to start looking at polls. We're not doing polls. I hate polls. Let's see. Anything new? God, it's also political. Tired of the politics. You know. Let's do this. Let's go to TMZ. Let's see what the stupid people are filling their heads with. Yeah, because TMZ is for stupid people. Let's be honest. Like if you go to TMZ, like if you're like, I'm gonna open up the internet, I can watch whatever I want, I can learn whatever I want, and you go to TMZ first, you're an idiot. TMZ, you should go to TMZ maybe 15th. Okay, like 15th. All right, let's see here. What is TMZ? Some Hollywood stuff. Eric Menendez says here, if he goes free, he'll live with his wife in Vegas. Who's his wife? He's been in jail for 34 years. How's he got a wife? Eric Menendez is ready to trade his regimented prison life for the lights of Southern Nevada because TMZ has learned that he's got plans to live with his wife in Vegas if he gets out. He's got kind of a hot wife. I'm looking at these pictures of... how's he got kind of a hot wife? How does... Oh, God. This fucking world. Seriously. This is such a... Some of you people running around like there's a God, like somebody's got a plan for all this. You people are nuts. There are no rules. Eric Menendez has a hot wife. He's been in prison for 34 years. He's got a hot wife. Let's see, what else? A whole bunch. You know what else I realize? Every time I look at TMZ, every time I scroll through TMZ, you know what I realize? I realize that I don't know famous people anymore. It's like I've just scrolled past like 15 people who are supposed to be famous because TMZ is talking. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. Dodgers, some Dodgers stuff. Apparently people are dyeing poodles Dodger blue and white. That's a thing. No, nothing. Kim Kardashian matched her power suit with a white Ferrari. People are talking. See what I mean? It's for stupid people. It's news for stupid people. We are out of show again. I don't know why the shows have been going so short. Usually I don't know. Well, let's take a look at Twitter. Seth says I shouldn't go to TMZ at all. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, look, I got to talk about stuff. Sometimes there's celebrities in the news. Sometimes I got to go to TMZ. But I get your point. I get your point in principle, yeah. It's a stupid people thing. But I like a lot of stupid people stuff. I mean, I am a good 50% stupid person. Yeah, I think that's fair to say that I am a good 50% stupid person. And that doesn't mean that the other 50% is smart person. It doesn't. I'm only about 10% smart person. 50% stupid person, 10% smart person, and then like 40%, whole bunch of things. Let's see. All right, let's see. What's going on Twitter? Should we scroll Twitter? Oh my God. So what do you guys? You guys, I seeing a lot of what? What is that? What is that? That's not real. Oh man. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I'm seeing a lot of Halloween costume. Like what's the big Halloween costume that you're seeing? You know which one I'm seeing a lot of? I'm seeing a lot of Australian breakdancer. I'm seeing a lot of Australian breakdancer in yards. Like there's a whole bunch of like people in the neighborhood where I walk the dog, which would be my neighborhood. So weird the way I said that. There's like 3 people that have the Australian breakdancer in a skeleton doing like posed breakdancer moves in the yard. So that's kind of funny. Kind of funny. humorous, I suppose. I'm out of shit to talk about, people. We got nothing else. All right, once again, I want to thank today's executive producer. He is the terrific Peter. If you want to help the show out, drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App. You can be tomorrow's executive producer if you are, in fact, today's top tipper and all that good stuff. All right, guys, that's it. We got a big game tonight, and then we'll be back tomorrow. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Hope all is well. Let's hold it together, folks.